spawn's not very far from this place, but more than providing a spawn point, the bed will allow us to both turn it day whenever we want and to kill the rain. Because as soon as you sleep during the night, the rain ends. And it also like resets whatever timer the game has in terms of, how long it goes without rain. So if you sleep on a semi-regular basis, the rain just won't come, or it'll come very rarely, which is also a bonus. I'm not a big fan of rain. I'm really not. There's so little use for it compared to what it brings in negative terms like lag, noise from the sound of it. I mean, I've heard that the fish bite faster when it's raining, but come on, the fish don't take that long to to get, even when it's pure sunny out. That's hardly what I would consider a bonus for the rain. And honestly, I wouldn't mind the rain if it was quieter. That's really my only big beef with the rain. I mean, sure, it does add lag a bit, but the lag is generally negligible unless you're on a server. Rain lag when it comes to a server can get really annoying, but in a single player world, if your world runs decently without the rain, it's not going to run that much worse when it is raining, but the sound is just horrible. Not that it doesn't sound like rain or anything, but it's just loud and obnoxious. And in case you're wondering, I'm clearing out the trees here in front of my place, not necessarily because I need the wood, but because I want the trees to be cleared out. Just getting the wood in the process is nice, but I don't like a big forest like this. It seems claustrophobic. You can't see where you're going, and I'd much rather get these trees out of the way. Having the extra wood will be a bonus for sure, but I kind of want a clearing too. Anybody else notice that tree leaves decay a lot slower? I'm really hoping that's an unintended side effect of the update and stuff, and that it's going to be fixed with the next, bug fix or whatever that they do. Don't get me wrong, the leaves still decay. It just takes them forever and a day to do it. Yes, I know I'm using an axe on leaves when I shouldn't even be bothering. But whatevs. It's just a stone axe. It's not like I'm wasting any materials. I can get cobblestone anywhere. And there it goes. But I got this tree cut, so it's all good. Apparently it was turning morning. I thought it was turning night, but looks like I got out of here in the morning. That's good. Alright, since I really do want to make a clearing right out here by my house. Look at this huge tree right here. I'm gonna go ahead and make another axe. I might even go so far as to make an iron axe. Yeah. I don't know, I'll hold off on that. I'll make a cobblestone axe for now. We got the cobblestone, so we're not going to be out a whole lot. Eventually I'll make an iron axe, just because I'll only be getting wood for the occasional like resource necessity of it. But for this big clearing project, I'll just go ahead and use cobblestone. Another benefit to having the iron now is that we'll be able to have a flint and steel, and we'll be able to cook our food on the fly if we ever, well, that is, if I ever bother to go after the animals. I guess these days fishing is the main source of quick, efficient food. Like I said, I've been told the animals currently still spawn again, but it's just they spawn really slow, so I wonder if Notch is trying to intentionally make Minecrafters into fishermen, because it's just fish is just the easiest way to get food in the game now, and it's really the most reliable. You can fish anywhere. You can fish in a single block. All you need is 2 block deep of water. You could turn any of your regular old infinite water sources into fishing spots. You just need to dig it down one more. So that's one thing I would stress to, especially the old school Minecrafters that have been playing this game for a while, who maybe ignored fish previously because, you know, it was so easy to get like pork and stuff. Definitely get yourself a fishing pole and go fishing for food, especially early on when you don't have access to a farm or you know, an ability to breed animals on a regular basis, that sort of thing, to have your food source. Don't overlook fishing. For me, these days, when I start up a new world, I get string for a fishing pole before I get it for a bow. It's become that much more useful. That priority is taken over. I guess in some ways, fishing was always an efficient way to get food, and I always enjoyed fishing, actually. I'm one of the few Minecrafters out there that had the patience to take the time to fish. In fact, I remember on the old Fool's House server world, the first world there that I joined up on, I think it was World 4 or something. They had a bucket plug-in for fishing specifically that when you went fishing, you had a random chance of picking up other items. Like sometimes on a really rare chance, you'd get a bit of gold, but most of the time you'd get like old leather hats, like they'd be half or more deteriorated leather hats or leather boots. You know, like those old stories of where people would go fishing and they'd latch on to boots or whatever. So that was really fun. But even just regular Minecraft fishing, I've always enjoyed. I haven't really done it much on the videos because it's one of those activities that you just sit there and fish, and it's rather boring. But I've always enjoyed it as just a player. It's been fun. Not even so much as a way to gather food, because whatever, I always end up with, or I always used to end up with a crap ton of pork and stuff, so it was never a necessity for food. It was just fun and relaxing to me. But I would definitely stress that if you're playing Minecraft these days with the official release, fishing is definitely one of those essential means of food, especially early on. I was watching Cage848 yesterday. He started up a new world, and he was stressing out because he kept starving. And watching his videos, by the way, I found out that you don't starve to death, you only starve down to half a heart. So basically you're on your last thread of life when you starve, but you don't die. But anything, literally anything, any type of fall damage, any type of enemy damage, anything will kill you at that point if you don't get some food and regen. So that was interesting to find out. But I was watching him and he was lamenting the fact that he couldn't get any food because he was afraid to kill the animals to get their food, because he was operating under the assumption that they don't despawn, which I had always assumed was the case at this point. But like I said, they just spawn really slow. But it took him like 3 or 4 videos to realize, and I think he was live streaming at the time, so somebody in his live stream told him, but it took him a while to realize that he could grab a fishing pole and go fishing for his food, and that would be a constant, reliable source of food. And then, of course, I think he had 5 videos up when I watched, and he spent the last 2 videos, number 4 and number 5, trying to find a stupid spider to get string for a fishing pole. And he couldn't do that even. He couldn't find a spider, and he was getting annoyed with that. That was kind of hilarious in a way. But yeah, I would definitely stress that to any Minecrafter these days to get a fishing pole. Go spend time your first day getting yourself a sword of some kind, preferably iron if you can find it. Iron's usually fairly easy to find. Get a bit of iron armor. If you have to choose between an iron sword or a bit of iron armor, get the iron armor and use the stone sword, because the iron armor will be far more useful. But if you can manage to get even a bit of iron and an iron sword, or even just a stone sword, like I said, go out during your first night, fight a spider, grab some string, and get back home. Make yourself a fishing pole, and then the next day you can fish. If you happen to be lucky enough that wherever you settle down for your night happens to have water inside it, like a pool of water or whatever, dig it down so it's 2 blocks deep, and you can fish in there in safety. And then you can just fish the whole night away and get yourself a crap ton of food. But it's definitely worth going out in the middle of the night to find a spider and fight it. Or else, if you don't want to do that, go find yourself a cave, and you should come across a spider at some point. Now, they're not quite as readily available as they are just on the surface at night, but you should still be able to come across a spider, or if you're really lucky, a spider dungeon like we did. And if you do that, well, then you're just going to have a crap ton of string, and you should never have to worry about having a bow or a fishing pole at that point. But I'm going to end this set of videos here, but before I do, I'm going to show you guys one last thing when it comes to the technical aspects of Minecraft. A viewer recently, in one of my previous videos, was asking me about how to deal with performance issues and lag and that sort of thing when it comes to Minecraft. His computer wasn't running Minecraft very well, I guess. I'm going to show you a few things you can do in the game. Now, there are some things you can get outside of the game, like a mod called, I think it's Optimine or Optifine or something like that, that will help with performance issues overall. But there are a few things you can do in the game. First thing I would recommend is that whether you use a default texture pack or not, you stick with a 16 by 16 texture pack. This is why I use Painterly a lot. Not only does it have a lot of customizing options, and you can make a pack that can essentially be your own style, you know, with all the options they have, but it's also a 16 by 16, so it's default native resolution, meaning that it's not going to tax your game or your computer any more than the game would with default graphics. The higher resolution texture packs, even like 32 by 32, they cause more performance issues for your computer, especially if you're already having issues when it comes to running Minecraft. So stick with a 16 by 16 texture pack. It doesn't necessarily have to be default, or even Painterly for that matter, but just make sure it's a 16 by 16. That would be my first recommendation. Next, there are some settings you can change. And let's see, video settings. And these are settings you can turn clouds off completely, especially if you're never like paying attention to the sky or anything like that, or you don't particularly care. Turn them off and the game won't have to render them out. That'll help with performance. I leave them on because of the nice atmosphere, and you know, my game runs fairly well with it, so I don't worry about it, but you can do that. I have this performance setting set to max frames per second, which is supposed to help with performance. I'm not really sure on the details of this particular setting, but I have it max frames per second to help keep the game running smooth and well, especially since I'm recording. There's also other settings like balanced and power saver. I'm not really sure what power saver does. Anyways, I keep it on max FPS to keep frames per second decent for me. Whatever. I'm not really sure on that setting particularly. Anyways, render distance is normal. This one is one of the major settings you can mess with in terms of performance. Far render distance is going to give you the most. I think this is the default, but it's going to give you the most performance issues in terms of what your computer has to render out, because far distance, it's going to render out the maximum amount of, you know, chunks, blocks, that sort of thing that you can do. So it's going to give you the most trouble. I usually keep mine these days set on normal. It'll give a little fog in the distance, but it's far enough out that you're going to get all that you're going to care to see in your immediate area and stuff, and it's not going to be claustrophobic or anything. And it helps cut down on performance issues, because with the fog in place, the game doesn't have to render out nearly as much as it does with far. And you still get your ability to see the sun and the stars and stuff. If you go any closer, like short, you're going to have fog fairly close to you. It's going to be like a foggy sort of, how do I want to say this, like a foggy day in early fall or early spring, if you know what that means, where fog's just going to be kind of like right out your window. It's not going to be like right up in your face, but I'm pretty sure you won't be able to see the sun or the moon or the stars or anything like that. And then tiny, it's like Silent Hill sort of fog, where literally you can barely see. I don't know how many blocks it is in front of you, but it's very, very close. I'd recommend normal if your computer can handle it. Short if you're still having performance issues. Most people don't need to resort to the tiny distance rendering, but that is an option if you're really, really having trouble. But like I said, normal. I used to play on far, and I kind of wish I could still play on far in a reliable manner, but it just causes a bit of lag, and I could play on far for myself if I wasn't recording, and when I'm not recording, I can do that sometimes, but I just keep it on normal because it kind of helps shave off some extra needless processing issues. Smooth lighting, I keep mine on because I like the look of it,